Hey, what's up, guys? So, today, what I want to talk about is my transition from a 9 to 5 career to being a business owner. And the reason I'm making this video is so I can share my experience and also give an idea to anybody who is looking to do the same. I know that it could be a scary step to take, but in life you do have to take risks for a bigger reward. And I want to share my experience. I am currently on my 9th month of business, and I just want to give a little insight on how it went for me. So, to give a little bit of a background of what I was doing before, I worked for Verizon. If you're not familiar with Verizon, they are a cellular company that offers services for smartphones, tablets, smartwatches, and anything that's cellular connected. I worked there for 5 years. I worked 3 years as a sales representative and 2 years as a sales manager. Overall, my experience there was very, very good. I worked for Verizon through a retailer, so the actual company I worked for was a company called Victra, and all I can say is I was really grateful for the 5 years that I was there. I would recommend anybody who is looking to get their first job to get right into sales. The skills it gives you in terms of working with people and talking with customers, and even giving you some transparency on how a business works, you should really try to get into sales. So while I was working there, toward my last couple of years, I was making really good money. Most people, when they get into a position where they have a solid career and they're making great money, that is the end goal, which there is no problem with that being your end goal. But for me personally, I wanted to work for myself, knowing that I won't have limits to how much money I can make. So it was great working at Victra Verizon, and my last year, I had made the most money I ever made in my life as a sales manager. I was managing one of their largest stores. I had a team of about 5 people. I was instructing on sales, and for me, I was making over $80,000 a year my last year, and had I stayed, I was most likely on my way to become a general manager. General managers will typically make about 120 grand a year. So it was a very promising career, very team oriented. I liked all of my colleagues and associates that I worked with, and overall I was really happy there. But for me personally, my lifelong goal was to run my own business and be my own boss, and eventually have my own employees, which is why I made the decision to eventually leave. So prior to me starting the business that I have now, which is my box truck business, I did have a couple of other businesses that I did try out. So one of the first businesses that I had was based off a passive income model. So that business was a very simple business I did when I was much younger. I didn't have much money to invest into a major passive income stream like rental properties or buying large amounts of stock. So what I did was I had gotten into vending machines. And I'm not talking like the electronic ones. I was on a very basic level with just the candy vending machines. The ones that you put a quarter inside and you either get a gumball, Skittles, or some M&Ms. And I started off with a few machines, worked my way up to 10 different vending machines across the Los Angeles County area, which was a pretty good startup business. Each machine could make you about $40 to $50 a month, so it would only take me a day to do my rounds, collect the money. The machines would have to be filled up maybe once every 2 or 3 months, and I'd make an extra $400 to $500 a month with hardly doing any work. That was my first business. When COVID hit, unfortunately, a lot of the places I had machines shut down. A lot of businesses went out of business, so I pretty much just picked up my machines, and that was the end of that business. Overall, I still made more money. I was able to run the business for a whole year and a half, collecting that extra income, which was a great start. The second business I ever ran was a two-row car rental business. I ran that business for, I would say, about a year and a half as well. I had a total of 3 cars, one economic car, one sporty flashy car, and one car just for day-to-day, I would say if you're just commuting to work, that I would rent out on there. And I was well on my way to 4 cars, but I had met my mentor who told me even though the car rental business was pretty good, that what I should focus on is purchasing my first house. And at the time, the market was looking pretty good. Interest rates were low, prices were low where I was looking at, and I sold my cars to purchase my first house, which I do not regret. It was an excellent decision that I made. So the great thing about these experiences I had with me being a sales manager, me running a couple of small businesses in the past, it really gave me the tools that I needed to be ready to run my first major business. So I had wanted to get into the trucking business for over 2 years. I would keep hearing about it from friends and family who were in it, and I was hearing how much money they were making, and it just really caught my attention. Previously too, I've had lots of driving jobs. I've worked for Amazon in the past. I've also worked as a Lyft driver. I would say I've worked over 3 years of driving jobs, and driving is something that I can do easily. It doesn't bother me to drive 10 or 11 hours a day. I could just listen to podcasts, listen to music, and it's something I can easily do. And I don't get bored of it. I like going around and seeing different sites. So with this idea in mind, so after I purchased my house, the next step for me was to save up money to purchase a truck or start the business with a rental. So I started saving up money for a whole year and a half just to take this step forward with my trucking business. So another thing I want to clarify too, mainly because it's a common misconception with most young people who want to become their own boss or be a business owner. One thing I hear a lot is that a lot of people will become their own boss because they want to be able to control their schedule. They want to be able to take certain days off, take holidays off, and be their own boss. But one thing I can say for me, my intent of starting my own business was so that I wouldn't be limited with the amount of hours that I could put in. I know that with a 9-to-5 job, even though it's a career, you're limited to a 40-hour work week, and the overtime isn't always guaranteed. Whereas with your own business, you have a little bit more control. Well, I'll say actually a lot more control with how many hours you put in and what days you're going to take off and how much work you're going to put in. For me personally, I like to drive the maximum amount of hours I can each week, which is 70 hours until I got to take my reset. I personally don't like taking holidays off just because I know this is a crucial time for me to build up some money and set myself up for my later years. So I started my box truck business in January of 2022 or this year, and I had done like a year full of research, and just reading anything I could, watching anything I could on the business. And even with my prior experience in sales management and in business ownership I've had, I can definitely say this was the biggest challenge I have ever taken on. But even though it was very challenging to get it started and to figure everything out, I can definitely say now I am super grateful that I took this chance and transitioned to start in an industry that is incredibly challenging right now. I also did want to highlight some of the pros and cons from my previous employer to me being a business owner now. So some pros and cons at my previous career. The pros were you had people that you would work with every day. It's also a very social job being a sales agent. I would probably talk to customers and other business owners for 2 or 3 hours a day as I'm setting up their phone lines or helping them upgrade devices. Another pro was it was a real team environment. What I liked about the company I worked for, which was Victra, was that they were very team oriented. They believed in building each other up and setting goals for them, for yourself and within the company. I really liked that too. Another pro that I had working there was you had more stability, knowing that you could get hours, at least 30 to 40 hours a week, which was great. I always had work. Now, a few of the cons, even though I was a manager or a sales manager, there was still a lot of upper management that really controlled how I ran my store, which personally I would have liked a little more freedom with that. Another con, of course, that same 30 to 40 hour work week. If you're like me and you want to work more than that, you were limited to just that. You couldn't go past that. Another con, you just don't have much freedom with your days. Like sometimes if you have to really take a day off, maybe let's say if it's something simple like for somebody's birthday party, it wasn't guaranteed. Of course, that's with any job. You can request days off, but it's not always guaranteed. That's another big con for me working at a 9-to-5 career. Now, it's also the same for a business. You have lots of pros and cons. With my box truck business, a few pros are that I have a lot more freedom in terms of traveling. I pretty much decide wherever I want to go. I book a load wherever I want. I get to see the entire US. I absolutely love that part. Another pro is I don't have anybody managing me or any upper management. I can go at my own pace with my business. I can take days off if I'm not feeling well, or if I feel great, I can go the maximum amount of hours I want, or that is legally okay, which is 70 hours each week. And I don't have to come home to take days off. I could just stay out and focus on making as much money as I want. One of my last pros is that, of course, different from the 9-to-5, if I have any emergencies, I actually did have a few funerals in the past couple of months that I had to go to, unfortunately, and I didn't have to worry about asking my boss if I can get the days off. I can just take the days off as I please. Now, there are also a lot of cons with being your own business owner and I would say a box truck business owner as well. The first thing is that whenever there's any major expenses, it's no longer coming out of the company. And if you make a mistake, it's not going to be on the company. And when it's your business, it's coming out of your pocket. If that tire pops, you're going to pay money to fix that tire. If that check engine light comes on and you need to replace a part, you're going to pay over $1,000. If you make a mistake and you get a ticket from an officer in your commercial vehicle, you're going to get a fat ticket. And that's one of the cons of being your own business owner. In a box truck, you're going to get other expenses like that. Another con of having your own business is you don't have a team like a company does, like a company you work for does, to keep everything organized. So you do have to take a lot of time out of your week to make sure you are keeping all of the paperwork organized, especially in a business like mine that is in commercial trucking. There is tons of paperwork. I have to keep different folders just to stay organized with all of my bill of ladings, rate cons, any expenses, receipts. I even keep I have a drawer at home, or a filing cabinet you could say, that I keep all of my paperwork organized in. So that's another con. Personally, to be honest, I'm not the most organized person, but being in this business has helped me get a lot more organized, because now I know that if I need to pull up paperwork from a certain time period, I know that I can just reach in and find what I need without struggling or wondering what time this happened, or when did I pay for this certain expense, or when I got paid on another trip. The last con I have about being a box truck business owner is it's more of a personal one, not so much a business one, but you are going to be away from home for extended periods of time. I mean, this is more specific if you're a long haul driver like me, and sometimes I'm gone for a month at a time, a month and a half, maybe even 2 months that I don't go home. And that's just me personally. I like to work a lot. You don't have as much freedom to just come and go home whenever you're halfway across the country. So for me, I'm based in California. Sometimes I'll take a load all the way to New York, to Florida. So it's going to take me at least 5 or 6 days to get home afterwards. And sometimes you do get a little homesick and you miss your friends. But for me personally, I know it's a sacrifice that I'm willing to take right now that will be worth it for my future. So I also wanted to talk about some of my favorite things about being a box truck business owner as opposed to what I was doing before. And it's just a lot more freedom. Like, I get to travel across the US wherever I want, and I pretty much get paid to do it. I've been to major cities that I've always wanted to visit. I've been to New York. Recently just went to Chicago. I went to Florida. I went to Texas, Washington. I get to see all the beauty of this country. I also get to try a lot of the good food in different places. Trying to make sure I don't get carried away with that though, because I want to be a healthy truck driver. I want to get heavy out here. And I love having that freedom. And if I've been running hard and I want to take a week off, I can come home and take a week off if I want. I don't have to clock in or clock out and work under anybody else's time anymore. And I really like that. And it's just a lot more freedom and a lot more control. I can control where my truck goes, and I'm starting to learn which areas are better for freight with the box truck and which are not. So I know how to control that part of the business now. I also really like that I could put more time in each week. I do like to use my full drive time, which is 70 hours each week. And for me, being a young man, I have the energy to handle that. I just absolutely love working. I'm a workaholic. And that's one of my other favorite things is I'm not limited to that 40-hour week. And it allows me to, in a sense, not have a limit with how much money I can make. As opposed to before, where with Verizon I was limited to tiers on my commission. Being my own business owner, I get to collect all the profit into my pocket after expenses, and I get to control how much I want to make. And typically I like to go as hard as I can and put in as many hours as I can, and it's a blessing to know that I can get ahead by working more hours. And it's also great too knowing that it's not just overtime pay if I'm going past that 40th hour. When you're collecting profit and you're getting all that money you work for going into your pocket, it's the best feeling ever. You're actually seeing the full money a business is bringing in, as opposed to being paid as an employee and getting a smaller cut of what's coming in. Lastly, I am overall just more of a happy person now that I'm running my own business. It's a way different way of living as opposed to working a job. You don't have the pressure of managers calling you and people trying to get on you about stuff. I really like that I can just go at my own pace, and I have the freedom to do what I want to do. I could take time off when I need to, and I can work harder when I need to. And it's really just changed my whole perspective on the world too, working with this business. And it gives me a little peek at other businesses when I go pick up from certain areas and I see the different factories and what they're shipping out, and seeing how some of these places are manufacturers of products that they're selling to other customers. It gives me a deeper understanding of how other businesses work, and that's another thing that I really like about doing what I do now. So for me, leaving my 9-to-5 career and becoming a box truck business owner was a positive experience. Like I said, it wasn't no cakewalk. It was definitely the most challenging thing I've ever done in my life. I had lots of ups and downs that I had went through. I can't even go into detail each time. A lot of close calls, but the fact of the matter is that is what it takes when you want to start a business. Starting a business is a risk, and all you can really do is do as much research beforehand, save up as much money to take a calculated risk and go for it. If you really want to start your own business, I highly encourage you to take that chance. I did, and I look back, and I'm very grateful for where I'm at now. My life is so much better than what it was before, and I am way happier doing what I'm doing now. So hopefully this motivates some people to take that chance themselves. Please, if you guys have any comments, or if you guys have any questions, just leave it below. I'll be glad to answer them. And I hope if you guys do take this chance that you guys are okay and that everything works out for you as well.